What's up guys and gals, Brian Tong here, and this is my M1 iMac review. And this is a gorgeous machine to me, but it's also one of the most polarizing Apple products based on the reactions that I've seen in a long time. Now the tech world had strong opinions with its colors and design choices when it was first unveiled, but if you've already made your decision about this computer on just the colors and the chin alone, I think that you're missing out on the most portable and powerful desktop combined that we have ever seen. Now, full disclosure, Apple sent me this M1 iMac for review, so it's obviously gonna go right back to them when I'm done, but we gotta choose our color of choice, and for me, it was either between purple and green, but look, I love purple and I love colors. And you know, colors are just so personal, and when we see them, I think each of us has a different reaction and feelings about them. And this is partly why it's getting just such strong reaction, but at the same time, if you're picking a computer and you're choosing a specific color that you love, it also creates a more powerful bond with it. So I think I'm just gonna break down the machine. We're gonna show you some of the things that make it unique. And is it perfect? No, so we're gonna talk about that too, but this might be the most personal computer that we have seen in a long time. Now the M1 iMac comes in every primary and secondary color of the rainbow. The backside brings the deeper, vibrant hue, while the stand is a lighter metallic, and then the front chin is even lighter than that. They come in pink, which is really a red-pink combo, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and silver. So if Tim Cook is Thanos, these are the Infinity Macs. I loved the design from the start, and no, it's not because I'm a fanboy, but this was finally something different and refreshing, and it was risky too. And then you got the reactions that obviously support that. We have here the lighter shades on the front that, you know, they aren't everyone's cup of tea. We have the border around the display. It's a very light gray, but it really does register to my brain more like white. Now from the front, there's no denying that this is an iMac. You know, you got the chin, you don't have the Apple logo on it, and even that turned off some of the longtime fans. I don't need like a logo to validate my purchase, so that doesn't bother me, but logo or not, look at this thing. This still looks like an iMac. And then, okay, you turn this thing sideways, and that's when you just gotta say, damn. The profile of this iMac is the slimmest it's ever been at 11.5 millimeters, and the components are all packed in the chin. After its unveiling, I said that I don't think people, are really gonna even realize how thin this looks like in person, and even if you expect it to be thin, it just doesn't hit you until you actually see it. It has 50% less volume than the previous 21.5-inch iMac. The footprint is a 30% reduction in size, and that's gonna allow you to put this in a lot of different places. The display itself, 24 inches with 4.5K Retina resolution. Everything on this looks great. It has an anti-reflective coating. It supports the P3 color gamut, and then there's the peak 500 nits of brightness, which is very good, but this is not an HDR display. Now, I had no problem with the new iMac design from day one. I mean, I honestly really loved it, but look, it makes sense it has a chin because all of the components are really right here in the chin. But then, whether you like it or not, you should be paying attention to the tech inside of it. Now, this machine has the M1. It's what allows it to be so slim, and the performance is just as kick-ass as every other M1-based hardware on the market today. So if you're using an M1 right now, most of you are still impressed by it. I mean, it's just that good. And the M1 may be paired with different form factors, but you're pretty much getting the same output and horsepower in the M1 iMac that you're gonna find in other machines. Now the iMac provided for this review has an M1 chip, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. There's 2 Thunderbolt USB 4 ports. You got 2 USB 3 ports with a gigabit Ethernet connection on the power adapter, and that would cost you total $1,899 to build today. The new entry-level iMac is $1,299. There's also a headphone jack down in the bottom corner here on the left side of the skinny side. And I mentioned the 4 ports on the back that allows you to connect hard drives or display adapters. But for a consumer machine this powerful that will also be a computer of choice for creators, I still think that they should have put an SD card slot just somewhere on this body, but it's nowhere to be found here. Now this M1 is incredibly quiet. I even edited the unboxing of the M1 iMac that you can watch using the beta version of Premiere Pro, and my project had 3 streams of 4K footage, and the fans on this machine never went off, never, even during the export, and that's just pretty damn impressive. I also mentioned that the entry-level iMac is $1299, and that model has a single fan and a heatsink inside. Well, when you jump up to the $1499 model, that's kind of the middle tier and higher, these iMacs have 2 fans and a heat pipe for an even better cooling system. Now, this machine never made a peep for me all through this time that I've been testing and using it. And again, that just tells you how quiet it is and how efficient it is. The entry-level iMac has an 8-core CPU and 7-core GPU, but if you go up to that next step up, you're getting an 8-core CPU and an 8-core GPU, so that just gives you a little extra graphics juice boost. You also have the yellow, orange, and purple color options that are only available at the $1499 price point or higher. And then with the entry-level model, you're getting 2 Thunderbolt 3 USB 4 ports, but jumping up to the $1499 model, you're getting an additional 2 USB 3 ports on top of that, so you're getting a total of 4 ports. It also gets you the gigabit Ethernet port on the power adapter, which I love since you're not gonna have to run a cable directly into the back of the machine. You can keep it on the ground, and you also get the Touch ID keyboard. Now you can add those last 2 features as upgrades for the $1299 base model. Touch ID matters, especially if this is a shared family computer, because all you need to do is use your finger to touch on the sensor and it logs you into your profile right away. So multiple user switching with a single touch of a button, yeah, that's a good Apple. There's also some Easter eggs in here that are specific to the M1 iMac. So whenever you're selecting things, whether it's an email in the email app or maybe something in the list view of the Finder, it has this deep purple accent. So even if I want to rename something and I tap on this file or folder, right, you tap it once, it has the dark purple color. You tap it twice, it changes to the lighter purple color, which then corresponds to the 2-tone color design of the actual iMac itself. So check this out. If you go into the system preferences and then you go to general, you're gonna see the appearance, and then below that, this thing called accent color. Now the last of those color dots is selected, and you can see it below. The highlight color says this Mac. On every other Mac, that option is not available. The this Mac accent color is specific to the color of the M1 iMac that you purchased. So if it's purple, you get the 2-tone purples that I have, but if you got a green M1 iMac, it'll use the green tones. And it's also so subtle but unique, and if you want to, you can change it to whatever you want, but the default is normally set at this Mac. Now, if you jump into the desktop and screensaver section, you're gonna get access to all new wallpapers based on the new iMac colors. They come in light or dark options. I really like this deeper purple wallpaper, but you can pick and choose whichever you want. And then if you go to the screensaver section, there's this new one called Hello, and you can set it to match the color of your iMac. You can have it themed after another one or be a multicolor one, but that's also a new addition that comes with a new iMac and just brings a little extra charm and polish to the product. Now the power cable is also the 2-tone color shade. It's fabric wrapped with the lighter shade of purple, and then the connector to the back is that deeper shade, and it's also magnetic. The keyboard, mouse, and trackpad options are a combination of white and then the lighter metallic hue. The USB-C to Lightning cable that charges those accessories is also fabric wrapped with that lighter purple color. Another highlight of this machine, the sound on this M1 iMac is just incredible. And we know there's plenty, of people or students that are gonna be using this primarily to watch movies or videos, and sound matters. You can hear the separation of sound coming from different directions, and it sounds amazing for built-in speakers, even in an open area without any walls to bounce that sound off of. This iMac also brings a 1080p camera, and we're still waiting for the laptops to catch up. Plus, the M1's image signal processor really helps to improve the overall image quality. And after living in a constant 720p world, for many Mac users, this is gonna make a difference. I've talked about earlier how thin this machine is, but the overall reduction in size just makes it really easy to pick up and take around. You don't realize it until seeing it in person, but this is pretty easy. It only weighs, less than 10 pounds, and this is a machine that you can really move around in your living space if you want to. And if you're saying, okay, why would I ever move my desktop around? It's because you've never been able to, and you've never really thought about it. Like, I didn't think about it. It didn't register in my mind until it was just so easy to do now. Now, this is a 24-inch screen, think about this, that can be put in multiple places around your living area. I have a pretty small office area, so I chose to try using this in the living room on my coffee table. And look, I just like put it there. It wasn't this huge behemoth or eyesore. I just kind of started editing my video in a really like casual way. I did the whole thing. It didn't bother me, and it just kind of like fit right in. I put it on my kitchen table to use it, and it was fine. And then I moved it from there and then put it over in the back corner of the kitchen counter, and it also fit right in. And so, look, I'm not saying that you're gonna take an iMac and constantly be moving it around like it's a laptop. And honestly, not every living area has the space to do this, but what other desktop would you even consider setting down in all these different areas of the home that you never thought of before? The base is a whole lot smaller, so it fits onto even more narrower desks, and it gives you 2 more inches of space compared to the previous iMac base stand. So you can really like push it up against the wall in a smaller room. And it sounds funny to say this, but this is like a portable desktop, I guess. I mean, it's really one of the most underrated aspects of this iMac, just from a usability standpoint, that I never would have thought of, but it really surprised me. So there's a whole lot to love about this iMac, but it's obviously not a perfect machine. You already know that if you like how the colored iMacs look or not, and I don't know, that's really a personal choice. So I'm not here to change your mind about that. But for me, look, one of the first things that I think it really should have improved is bringing more than 250 gigs of storage. And my main reasoning behind that is that an iPhone starts at 64 gigs, but most people, they make an upgrade to at least 128 gigs or higher. I'm not asking Apple to give us like a terabyte of storage, but with users' appetites for media, you know, we're talking about photos and videos and taking them constantly, I'd like to see them at least start it with 512 gigs of storage for an option, especially, you know, if this is a device that's being shared amongst family members. I think you could at least give that middle tier price, the $14.99 price, starting at 512 gigs. The 24-inch display here, it is excellent, but this is not an HDR display if that's important to you. This is also not a deal breaker, and there are people that have purchased iMacs that are creative pros, maybe hoping for that. This is not here right now, but it will likely be on pretty much every Apple product eventually down the line. My biggest bugaboo is that I would have loved to have an SD card slot on this machine. I mean, we know that Apple makes their own decisions for deliberate reasons, but just make it easy to drop in media content, because we got a lot of, you know, entry-level creators, new creators, pro creators, family members. Make that an easy process, because no one really wants to hang like some ugly dongle on the back of this gorgeous machine that doesn't match. And then is it just an eyesore when you got something that's like hanging on the back exposed? If Apple could fit a headphone jack on here on the side, I'm just sure they could have fit an SD card slot as well. Also, I'm a big fan of the colors, and I was excited about, you know, the prospects of this new purple iPhone matching the purple iMac. I mean, I love purple. I know this is a small thing, and you know, it matters if you want to get all matchy-matchy, but look, unfortunately, when I bring out this iPhone here, the shades don't actually match like you'd expect it to. You might even be able to see it from this far, but this purple shade on the glass surface or the ceramic surface of this iPhone is not the same shade as the purple on the iMac. If you also look at the base, kind of the metallic area, this shade of the phone is also not the same color as the same shade of the base. So yes, they don't match. There's just kind of like me being picky. It stood out to me, and it's all purple. It's just not any of the same purples. Maybe I should stop. We have the border on the iMac. It's that light gray, white color, and it's not gonna match every household, but it's also gonna look amazing in others. I mean, obviously it kind of matches this room, but it didn't distract me when I was working or editing video on it. But where this comes to play is that if I don't have like a pitch black room and I'm watching a video or a movie, I'm not the type of person who likes seeing a white frame around my video content. I know it's kind of a specific case, but for me, that's where I don't like the white border, but in every other situation, it doesn't bother me at all. The accessories here, they're also matched to the colors of the iMac, but the Apple mouse is still the same, and it's one of the least ergonomic for me. It's just too flat, and this isn't a specific criticism of, I guess, the iMac, but it is part of the deal, right, where you're keeping the same accessories to match the same iMac. I just wish they would have improved the mouse design. I mean, it still charges from the bottom, and I do know that when I see this setup, if this is gonna be my main computer, I'm gonna be switching out the mouse. Also, if this is a computer that is being used by family members or really being used in a central spot or location, look, it's probably gonna be using FaceTime, and I think it could have really been enhanced even more by having a center stage camera that has that same functionality as the new iPad Pro. Now, I don't know if the components were available or not. It's an ultra wide camera, but think about it, following you around while you're cooking, or even while you're in your office, walking around and pacing during a meeting and talking, that just seems like the perfect addition that we'll probably see in a future iMac, but just not yet. Now, as a video and content creator who's really lucky enough to do this for a living, the iMac is a breath of fresh air, especially when you see all these machines that are, they are classy, they are nice, but colors of silver and space gray Macs, it's not anything different. And this is honestly refreshing to see. You also, I'm a working professional, so I'm waiting to see what's coming from Apple in this Pro space before I make any purchasing decisions this year. That's just where I'm at. But if you love the iMac, you're gonna love this performance from the machine once you get it. I mean, it is literally everything you expect from an M1. If you have never experienced an M1, you're gonna love this. And then if you still don't like how it looks, I think that seeing it in person will change your mind. So give it a chance. I really think so. Also, if you're thinking about getting a new iMac, I'm gonna tell you, you should really consider jumping up to the $1499 level. The base entry level model, yeah, it's $1299, but when you go that next step up, it gives you a lot of extra bells and whistles over that entry level iMac. You get an extra graphics core, you get more color options, you get the gigabit Ethernet, 2 additional USB 3 ports to give you 4 ports, you get the keyboard with Touch ID included. That's just for jumping up $200 extra. But look at this thing. This is just a beautiful machine with the most power that we have seen in an all-in-one desktop. It's also the most portable desktop that we've seen that you can move around your home. It just fits in so many places. And it sounds weird, but maybe we're seeing kind of a new category for computer that fits into a different part of our lives. I mean, if you just keep it in one place, it's still gonna be just as good, but this does have more versatility than we've ever seen before. I was genuinely excited when Apple unveiled and announced this iMac. I was impressed from the start, and now I'm even more impressed because I've spent a whole week with it. I've been able to use it. Look, the fan has still not gone on for a single task that I've done, and this excites me for the consumer, for families that are sharing a computer, maybe for a budding creator or even someone who's already a creator. I mean, this thing really just has everything you need except for an SD card slot, but even at that, like, if you look at this price point, the value that you get here all in one, it's gonna be hard to beat. And also, you get the M1 performance, which is killer. You get this design that is super slim, but also just feels like you can put this machine anywhere. And if you love colors, you're gonna love this. And I do. So for me, the new M1 iMac, this is a total winner. And okay, I'll say it for y'all. That's a good Apple.